And
But
I
I
think it's
mean,
fun. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. You had a
Well,
more formed
No,
thought than I
you.
did.
yeah, you go ahead.
All right,
No,
I'll
After
go.
you.
you. You hang up.
One day when
No.
we're all just hanging out in a more casual way, I'm going to have to just unload on how I hate everything about the human trafficking industry. And I don't mean human trafficking, which is so fucking small in the way people think. They think it's like the biggest problem facing society. But no, the whole industry that has sprung up about orgs that take so
Yes.
much political money and do nothing.
I
Because most human trafficking is
100%
labor
agree.
trafficking.
I
It's
100%
yeah,
agree with you.
yeah.
I taught a couple of law enforcement courses in California at the beginning of this year just about like how to recognize signs of trafficking and stuff like that because it actually happens in California a lot. Like there's a lot of labor trafficking in
Mm-hmm.
California.
Is this cabinet too overpriced? Question mark.
No. But yeah, no, it is really really crazy because I do it on a completely volunteer basis.
Mhm.
Like just working with different organizations here and there sometimes, and a lot of the organizations are pretty legit. I mean, a lot of them are like academic research and stuff like that, so they're not usually taking a bunch of political money. But there are so many, like if you just Google like human trafficking, so many organizations that are just like,
Polaris and yeah, oh my god.
I mean, there's a lot that just
Anything
yeah.
Shawnee Hunt has ever been involved in.
And we should probably cut the names of these out because I don't want to like
Oh, God.
trash talk. Or maybe
You
it's
can
just
keep it
this whole
talking on
thing.
me if you want, because I will trash talk Shawnee Hunt till the end of time. But
Yeah. But I don't know. I just, yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know. I do it on a complete volunteer basis because it's something that I think is interesting. It helps my OSINT skills. It helps people. So at the end of the day, like, it's a win-win. But yeah, there's a lot of companies that just profit off of exploiting.
I feel like there's a lot of what's the word, like just public fear that is directed in completely the wrong direction. Like we touched on it with the Wayfair
Mhm.
conspiracy.
That's the United States.
Yeah, but a lot of what I see like on TikTok is people are giving advice on how to avoid being like human trafficked.
it's a moral
Um,
panic. It's this generation's satanic
yeah.
panic.
And it's like human trafficking is generally people you know. There aren't like random dudes in vans kidnapping
Yeah.
them.
It's the
Like
same
I
with
had that
like,
as it, yeah.
yeah, it's the same with like murder. I mean, most like murder and assault and things like that are
Mhm.
like statistically people
Someone
that
you know. Yeah.
or that you're
Yeah.
close to even.
Right.
Like even when I was a kid, and like I'm a dude and I'm not really that good looking, but I was told to watch out for the
Yeah.
man with the van outside school.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't until I was about 24 that I realized that that isn't a thing. People do not sit with vans outside schools and just bundle kids in. Like that is ridiculous.
I don't know. Tran said he had a candy bin.
Yeah. Would you like some candy?
But this really speaks to our industry and security as a whole. That humans are horrible at evaluating risk,
Yes.
and we live by anecdote, not data. Like we make
that's-
really bad decisions over and over and over.
That's such a like we could talk about that for an entire episode. I think just.
Mhm.
I mean, we have entire teams dedicated to assessing risk. Like, why is it something that we're so bad about? And have we always been bad about it? Like, we're our ancestors who were trying to hunt predators of
Mhm.
them really, really bad at assessing what was risky to them.
That's always what surprised me is because our industry, InfoSec, is at the very core just risk management. That is what the industry is. And then you go on InfoSec Twitter and it's like, turn your phone off at DEF CON. There are FBI agents trying to kidnap me at my house.
Yeah, it's
And
fear
it's like-
mongering. It's just pure
and
fear mongering to
No one understands risk management. Like they have these insane risk models that are just so unrealistic. And they work in an industry which is entirely based on risk modeling.
We have oversized amygdalas, and we still panic, and everything else that we haven't evolved out of ourselves. You mentioned our ancestors, right? Like, if you have two different ancestors, one of them was like, "What's that rustle in the bushes?" Ah, it's probably nothing. And the other one is like, "The rustle in the bushes is definitely going to murder me." You know, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. This person's not having as many kids as this person, and like we are this person's
Yeah.
descendants.
So where do we get the happy medium eventually, though? Like, you would think it would eventually start to even out, right?
It's hard. It's really hard.
I
You
think
know,
it's
the
education.
classic story is the news can put out reports saying every major U.S. city is safer than it has been in decades. You can look like at all these bar charts. But if you're having lunch and you're like, did you know Aunt Mabel's sister she went to New York City last year to see a play and she got mugged. Like, that mugging story is going to stick in your brain way more than all the bar charts and all that valid data.
Well, I think the main issue is like no one is reading these charts and this data. They just read the news.
Mm-hmm.
And by its nature, the news is reporting the extraordinary. No one wants to hear, hey, today Greg went to New York and he ate a Subway. It was adequate but not delicious. They want to. They want. I mean, have you eaten Subway?
I wouldn't even call it adequate, but let's move on.
Okay. And like the news it's reporting the extraordinary, so it's like mass murders and whatever. And I remember like when my parents came to America for the very first time to visit me, they were like, "Are you sure it's okay for you to walk home alone from this restaurant?" And I'm like, "What? Like, are you sure? Like, are you not gonna get shot?" And they like literally thought that just like me walking home, someone was gonna come and mug me or shoot me for no reason. And you realize the media kind of fuels this idea of all this violence that just isn't happening.